Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Golf Juice TV. This episode we're with Duncan McCarthy. Duncan is founder of Ignite Sports and Duncan is a sports performance coach. Duncan also worked with Chris Hansen, our last interviewee. So if you haven't checked that interview out, check that one out as well. So Duncan, you kind of work with guys with their schedules, their fitness and their mental game. So kind of like that whole package of helping someone kind of develop, and you also said you work with guys that play on the Challenge Tour and Euro Pro Tour at the moment. So could you tell us a bit about yourself and what it is you do and how you kind of became a sports performance coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Basically, my background all started when I was a youngster, like most young kids. You sort of playing all sports under the sun. I was always football. I played at a high level there. Kind of played golf to a certain level because of your dad. The story. And then it really, I took it more seriously. Obviously, I had my performance side, but then in terms of learning about it at university, sports psychology, health and fitness, went on there and then went on to more qualifications after. There's a massive difference really between learning the theories. You got the head in the books and you're learning the theories, etc., and actually applying it to the real world. The real world is very different to university. So I sort of got into part-time coaching, etc., and you suddenly start to develop not necessarily a theory, that's maybe a bit over the top, but sort of a belief and kind of a way to coach people. And that sort of led me to where I am now. There's a few different stop-offs on the way and what have you. But that was always my passion. And that leads me to the day now where basically my job is just to make someone better at what they do in the sporting arena. So take, for example, golf. Yes, I'm a good golfer, play to a professional standard, etc. So I could tell you what a good golf swing would consist of, but it's not my expertise. It's not something that I know in depth about, so I don't really get involved with that. But what I do is work with the swing coaches and apply my expertise areas to their golf and performance, which, like you said before, fitness, mental aspect, and the management of the athlete, not in terms of the admin, the booking and what have you, but in terms of the schedule and the training schedule. So they're just sort of maximising their time. You've got a lot of golfers that spend a lot of time at it, and I think if they were honest, the amount of time they spend at it, they're probably not improving as quickly as that time sort of warrants almost. So that's my job really, just to make someone better at what they do, and we turn down different avenues looking for those little ways that will improve them at better, take them to the next level even. Okay,
cool, awesome. So you say that you kind of, I guess like a lot of guys, you've kind of created your own belief system in terms of what you've seen work and through experience. So what would you say you think is different in the way that you teach compared to say like the theory or the textbooks?
Okay, that's basically what you do there. Let's say, for example, you've got 3 textbooks in front of you. They will have their own beliefs. What I've found in the real world is that what works for one doesn't work for another. So, for example, let's take the mental side, for example. Everybody knows, it's universally known and accepted that the mental toughness is a requirement for elite performance. Everybody knows that. But what I work with, say, for example, like you mentioned Chris Hansen before, how I work with him and what I work with him on is totally different to the play that I've had this morning. We're working on different areas, so we continue to work on our own little journey, if you will, working to improve that individual. And also the way that I coach the people. So from my, I don't bore them with this, but I will speak to somebody in a different way as I do to other people. So some people want instructions. They want a list of 1, 2, 3, this is what I do. Other people prefer a casual chat and leave them to sort of come to their own conclusions. And that's neither's wrong. I think that's the beauty about, I work in other sports as well, but the beauty about golf, and I guess other sports as well, is there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can get to the same destination a very different way. And I think what a lot of lads do is, or a lot of youngsters trying to pave their own way, is they try and tick boxes. I'm not having a go at them, but I think the intentions are right. What I try and do is I try and get my athletes to do what they trust. And trust can't just be turned on, it's got to be worked on, and you develop confidence and that leads to trust. but I want them to do it their way that they believe in, and I will support that way. And the right, hopefully the right advice to get them there. So.
Yeah, I totally. Well, what you're saying about is the trust area. I definitely experienced that when I worked very closely with a group of coaches, and then I went to play golf at college in America, and suddenly I didn't have that contact, and my golf swing went to bits because I was reliant on, say, other people, and I realised that what would work for me was kind of having my own knowledge about understanding my own swing. So I think there's that level of over coaching, isn't there, that can come in.
Yeah, I think you're dead right there, Tom. And it sounds like a scary thought, this, but ultimately, I'm not training a player to be good on the practice ground or to be good in a practice round on the course or any. I'm teaching them to be good under pressure. Because if you want to perform at the top level, let's face it, you're going to have to go through some pressurised situations. And it's in that moment you need to trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, then there's a massive issue coming, because as much as I might spend X amount of time with a player and other coaches will spend it with their players, at the end of the day, when you've got 164 yards into that final hole and you have a one-shot lead, it's you. Mm-hmm. It's you playing that shot, there's nobody else there. And that might sound scary, but that's just a reality. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't got trust in your own ability, then you're going to come unstuck, more often than not. So it's important that, yes, the coach provides the information and supports that player and gets them into good habits, etc., etc. And every coach does it a different way, which is, I quite like that. I like the fact that there's more than one way to. It'd be a boring world if there was one way to do it. But ultimately, that player has to have that trust and know, yeah, I'm ready. I'm capable of playing this golf shot. And it was actually one of the topics this morning with a certain individual, and he's playing great golf. He can't wait for the season. He's won 3 times already on the mini tours, and he's raring. And we were talking about, some new shots and some new ideas. But I said, do not take that to the golf course. Only take that to the golf course when you trust it on the practice ground, and then transfer it. Because he's in a good mode at the moment, because everything he does he trusts. Mm-hmm. And it's huge. It's not just in golf, not just in sport, in anything, in just everyday life. You've got to trust yourself.
Yeah. I can imagine, like, when we were interviewing Chris, he says, sometimes he's away from the UK for a long time, and then you need to kind of have that kind of understanding and trust that you're kind of doing the right thing, even if things aren't panning out the way you kind of planned.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're dead right there. I'm glad he said that, by the way. But it's true. So many athletes in other sports as well as golf, kind of, when it goes wrong, they question everything and they think they need to change everything. And I don't want to bang on about Chris and just speak about him, but one of the best things that he does is he sticks to the plan. Mm-hmm. He sticks to the long-term goal. And of course, everybody looks back and says 2011 was an amazing year for him, fantastic, did really well. A lot of people then say, last year perhaps wasn't so good. Well, actually, he's a better golfer last year than he was the year before, based on the stats, based on the factual data. But the one thing Chris does, and he has done for a very long time, is on his bad days, he doesn't change things. He just keeps doing it and accepts that that's part of sport. Mm. The big thing that he does at the end of that is he learns something from it. Mm-hmm. And that's why he tends to have more successful days than not. Yeah. And it's the same with a lot of other good golfers out there as well. They learn from the bad experiences rather than, oh gosh, I think I need to change this and I need to change this coach. And that takes a lot of trust, though, does that to take to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I guess moving on to scheduling, that is kind of does have a relation, because when you have that long-term goal, then it's easier to accept the bad days, I guess, when you're clear about what it is you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. There's it's just been a part. Well, probably going back to February, March time, where I sat down with a lot of the players and we kind of pieced together their season and making it fitting in the training and what with the appropriate training at that time is. So we're always preparing for tournaments rather than reacting to the last one. And when you're piecing that together and you get it on that piece of paper or you get it on that wall chart, it starts to become very real then, and it also starts to become incredibly organised. So when you see it pieced together, and I'm not saying that we go full hog at it. I'm aware that rest is important for players, as I'm sure most other coaches are, and so you would factor in maybe if they wanted 4 days off somewhere, or if they had family commitments, which is also important. So you would factor all these things in, so there's a great balance for every individual. But when it's down on that piece of paper, you automatically have some form of organisation there. And it's a great platform to work from. Mm-hmm. So then you look at it and you see, right, okay, let's go for it. So yeah, July is going to be an incredibly busy month. So June, I really have to up the ante in the gym maybe, for example, because in July it's going to be just taking the bands with me and the roller with me to a hotel room for a month. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bit limited, which is, that's just the way it is, but we're keeping good habits. And then towards the end of that season, you sit down and then you analyse the whole year. Whereas what I found that a lot of individuals do is they analyse every single tournament and react to that. And it's good to analyse every tournament, absolutely. But you don't just react to it spontaneously. Mm-hmm. You should always have that plan in place. And that's where I think that schedule is just part of that plan. And it lays the foundations for you to go long term rather than just always quick short-term fix.
Yeah, definitely. This is kind of like a bit unrelated, but there is a theory, kind of the 10,000 hours of practice schedule, and that is, I don't know what your kind of opinion is about that, but that 10,000 hours is usually equates to about 5 or 6 years. So of proper practice and kind of mental work and gym work, and I guess that kind of shows you the span of like how long something can take to get to the level where you are playing golf at maybe almost your potential.
Yeah, I think with that 10,000 hour rule, I kind of get a bit, I don't know, I'm not so set on it, because a lot of people, there's a lot of this bounced about at the moment, especially on social media, etc., where people say hard work pays off. And I really struggle to agree with that, because it's all well and good putting in the hard work, but it's got to be focused hard work for me. It's got to be on the right things, not on the right things to tick a box, but on the right things for you. Yeah. So with that 10,000 hour rule, the reason I don't just land on it and say, yeah, that's right, is because those 10,000 hours, you might put the time in, but it might not be the right time. It might not have been focused time. So, for example, you've got two kids who sit in a classroom, a history classroom, and one's digesting all the information that's going on and writing down his notes, and the other one's sat there texting under the desk. And at the end of the 4 or 5 years at high school, they've done the same amount of time in the class, but one's got an A and the other's got a D. And you look at it and you say, well, what's the difference there? Well, he utilised his time in that history class a lot better than he utilised his time. Yet they clocked at the same amount of hours. So that's kind of, I do agree with it, that it takes an incredibly long time. And Tiger said this 2 weeks ago, didn't he? I think at the end of the tournament. Or what would you put your recent form down to? And he just came out with the obvious answer: work hard. Yeah. You've got to work hard. I have put a lot of hard work into it, and now I'm getting my rewards. And you're right, and that it is right. And I think it's a good guide, is the 10,000 hours. But you've got to make sure that it's focused.
Yeah, there's a detail there, isn't there? It's like part of the whole 10,000 hours is learning to know yourself and know kind of where you need work and like your habits, like where you slip up, I guess. And like you're saying with the way that you help guys schedule, I guess it's creating those good habits that creates kind of consistency, and those like small things become like a positive pattern, I guess.
Absolutely, your habits lead you to your success or away from them. If you've got a habit of getting up in the morning when you don't feel great and you still go out and you go work hard in whatever it is, then that's a good habit to be in. If you're in a habit where you're tired in the morning, you roll back over and you go back to bed, well, that's not a good habit. And after a day, those two people, there won't be a massive difference. After a week, there won't be much. But after a month or a year or 5 or 10 or at the end of your life, those two people have gone in a totally separate direction. But on a day-to-day basis, there's not a massive difference. Those habits can have a massive effect. And when you look at the schedule, this is why what works for one doesn't work for another. You know, I have individuals where I don't do a lot of scheduling with them. They tell me what they're doing because that's a good habit of theirs. They do it already. Equally, I have other individuals where I have to sit down and walk them through it, and we do it together. And neither's wrong, because the one who's not great at it has identified that and said, "Duncan, will you help me with this, please?" So he turns to someone to make his weakness a little bit better. Whereas the other guys, it's a strength, so they don't need so much support. It's a natural habit.
Okay.
So you're right. It's about finding your weakness and getting somebody to support that and make it better with you.
Okay, cool, awesome. So, Duncan, thanks for this. I think it's been very educational for myself. Hopefully for the viewers as well. So, where can people find you?
Website is www.ignitesports.co.uk. People are I'm more than happy to take emails from people. Duncan at ignitesports.co.uk. Twitter is at Ignite Yourself. I've got a YouTube page which has a few videos going on from various athletes there, at Ignite Yourself 1. On the Facebook page, which I have to hold my hands up, I need to get a bit more active with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main information is on the website, or to be honest, just fire me an email and you get it straight from me, then the answer.
Cool, awesome. Thanks for coming on. Guys, if you're watching this, check out www.golfjuice.tv. Subscribe and like, and we can send you more videos. Also, if you sign up to our mailing list, we can send you episodes just straight to your inbox, so much easier. So Duncan, thanks for speaking to us. Really appreciate it, and good luck with everything, and I guess good luck for your players as well.
Cheers, Tom. Yeah,
Cheers.
good speaking to you.
Thanks. Bye.